How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books. It's found on the battlefield. How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books. It's found on the battlefield. All right, what's up, warriors? Welcome back, Battlefield of Mind. I'm hanging out with Jordan, Stacks, Shelton again, and we're just doing a one-on-one, just him and I. Now, something to know about Jordan is he's one of my favorite people to talk to, so I talk to him pretty often. And I figure, you know what? Some of our conversations are so damn good. Let's just record some. Whether this is an episode that goes up or just a good hangout, either way, it's just great.
I'm here for it. No, thanks for having me.
Cool. How you doing, bro? What's going on in your universe right now? If you're like, you know what? I got some things I want to share. Either something I really, really love, something I observed and I found, or you know what grinds my gears? You pick whatever direction you want to go.
Oh, man. No pressure on this one, huh? All
Full
right.
pressure.
So I'll tell you, one thing that I have been working on in my personal life lately, in some kind of treacherous waters to me, I've been navigating is, I've been divorced for, it's probably going on 2.5, 3 years now. And I went through a lot, and, we can get into kind of a testimony and stuff to give a little bit more of this conversation, some context. But like, I found as a man, like I've developed a very irrational fear of women that I've been trying to address. Right. And just leaning into that category is terrifying for me. For different reasons. There's some mother wounds. Like I was in a cult for several years. Like I've been very conditioned by a lot of the marital counseling kind of that kind of world. A lot of the therapy culture and things like that. And I'm finding like, I've been with one woman my entire life, and I have no idea what I'm doing in this category. So finding authenticity for me, it's fairly easy in other areas like hobbies, what I do for work, what I do with the guys, or just having natural conversations. But when it comes to this area, I do find myself struggling, and I find myself a little bit armored up and a little bit insecure, right? So like leaning into these areas and trying to figure out why has been a very interesting journey for me.
I've been noticing a thing with a lot of guys, maybe it's our generation or something, but it's been something that I actually am more curious to go, what the flip is going on with my guys where this is hitting you guys? Because I had another guy this morning where like there's like a lot of insecurity coming in from some direction on my guys around being with women, or even like an experience thing or whatever it is, where like I don't know what's the thing, but I like to get to the core of fear and go, wait a second, let's see if it's rational or irrational. Let's see if it's there or not there. I'm a big fan of killing fear, you know that.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, well, if we have an insecurity, which is a inward security issue, what is it? So let's see if we can punch it in the beak and let's see what happens.
So let me tell you what I've found so far, right? So a lot of it comes from, I grew up in a very small town. And when I say small, like, I mean, I grew up in a town with 600 people, right? So there was only so many women around. And my school annexed with the next town over. I grew up in rural Illinois, very small place. The next town over had 5,000 people, so my graduating class was like 60 or something like that, So any woman that I would date, I knew like every guy she'd ever been with, and a lot of them were my friends, so there is, what I'm finding with this growing up and like just my lack of experience with dating and with women versus my experience with women, things with, my mom was pretty unhealthy. She was really not a victim, but she just made poor choices with men. I didn't really have a lot of good relationships modeled. So there's areas in that where there's a lot of comparison and there's a lot of unspoken expectations that I kind of fall into some of this nice guy category behavior, unspoken agreements and expectations that are causing internal judgments and resentments before I've even taken action on them. Like that's the big obvious one I can find, right?
It's a funny thing too, because I'm actually kind of curious, like with no blame, no shame, no judgment. What are some of the expectations that like you have, like the preconception of like, I think that this is there.
Hmm. So one of them is like, I got on a dating app, just because I keep hearing a lot of different guys and like, dude, it's a nightmare out there. Like, oh, it's terrible, and I'm like, oh god, like I don't even want to do it. But kind of doing like something similar to exposure therapy. It's like, hey, let me go in and just see what this is actually like, and is this really happening? So some of the things that I would see is like, I get on this app and like, dude, some of these women, they look unreal. And I mean that in like a positive way, like a compliment, and I mean that in an actual way. I'm like, whoa, like I've never seen women this attractive, this well put together. Like lighting's perfect, they're fitness excellence beauty models, and then on their things they're like, I want to travel, I want to go out for drinks all the time, I want to do this, blah blah blah, dreams, dreams and this and that, and all these things. I'm like, oh shit, like I'm kind of having a hard time financially, and to be honest, like I don't even like going to get drinks. I'm kind of a homebody, like I've never been a partier. um and then also there is like a physical comparison. I look at myself. I'm very average, I guess, looking as a guy. I've never really put a lot of thought into this. Like, damn, like I don't even really want to go abroad. Like that doesn't seem to align with things that I would even want. And so it creates, for me anyways, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but it creates a paranoia internally by reading this page that is supposed to reflect an entire person without meeting them. So for me, I'm a Enneagram type 6 wing, and I fall into bargaining a lot. I fall into a lot of paranoia and a lot of what do you call it? Self-sabotage, right? So there is part of this where I see this list and I get worried, like I'm not going to meet this expectation. And part of me is like, ooh, let me make a list of excuses so to eliminate um eliminate the chance of potential hurt before it even starts, right? That's the self-sabotage element. That's me leaning into the fear, and then that's me being smart enough to create excuses not to do it, right? So that's like step one. I get defeated in this area quickly. Just
Okay, let's keep it to this one real quick because there's a lot you just hit in, so I want to grab a couple pieces of it. First off, I think it's really ironic that like just you already know me. I'm gonna say an ironic thing.
Mhm.
You're looking at this like girl who's like unbelievable, which might be actually true because it could be like some AI altered image, so it could be unbelievable.
Mhm.
So it might not be real. And so there is always these elements of like, remember that app that you can change your body? Like there could be this, right? Okay, I think it's really funny that you see these girls out there with like their pretty to taking ratio. It seems like I'm so pretty, but here's my list of things I want to take. I want to get this. I want this. I want this. I want this. I want this. Which in their mind feels like because I look this way, this is my criteria or standard for what I expect. And you're like, damn, I don't know if I can meet this standard. You want to know what's funny and or ironic about that?
What's that?
Why is that girl doing this dating site if it's so easy to meet that standard? Oh, nobody fucking can. That's why she's on a dating site because her list is ridiculous and nobody does this.
Yes.
And anybody who can do that doesn't need to be on this site because they've got a ton of fucking options and they don't need to fuck with you. That's the irony to this is they end up also I think Homath does a really good job of explaining how like you just knocked yourself out of like the dating sphere. Like nobody does this, and so you just made yourself some unrealistic expectation of what you want, but you just knocked yourself out of the dating pool. Like you made it so you're undateable. I don't give a shit what you look like. And then what do these girls who are undateable do? They end up just hooking up with assholes. And then like it's really funny because they hook up with dirtbags and then for free and then expect some guy who's Prince Charming to pay a premium for the stuff that she just gives away like Costco samples to assholes. And that's funny.
Yes.
Ironically, that's funny. You feel like, as a decent dude, I could never actually match this list when she doesn't have anybody who will match the list and ends up hanging out with guys who are subpar just to get by. It's all fucking ironic, dude.
Yes. And
So she doesn't know what she's fucking doing, and somehow you measure up yourself to something that she doesn't even know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
and
funny, dude.
I agree, and I realize this too, like mid thought when I'm doing my internal thing, and I'm I'm trying to self sabotage because I'm afraid of it, and I don't want to take the risk because I like my comfort, I like my solitude, I like my complacency, just like anybody else. But yeah, it's like this is a thing I realize. I'm like, well, if you like to do all those things and you look like that, like why are you on this app? Because theoretically, like you should be hitched up, living good, like and then the other part of what I have trouble with is um just after being through so many different events, and we can get into that, and like being in the men's like well-being kind of atmosphere, like and then you mix that with a lot of the self-help stuff like AA or Celebrate Recovery or Every Man's Battle, or there's so many freaking programs, and we as men, we get nailed so hard if we are presenting a version of ourselves that's not realistic. Like I don't have this luxury, and I'm not very good at
I just
making
want to make sure.
myself. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know what that means. Like presenting yourself as something that's unrealistic. What do you mean?
Okay, so like we kind of talked about with the woman's dating profile, right? It's like she's gorgeous, she's this, she's got all this stuff, blah blah blah. She knows what she wants. I'm like, man, I don't want to post myself as like I'm 6'1", right? What if I said I was 6'2", just to church it up a little bit, right? Or if I said well, I make 5 figures a year instead of like I make 60K a year. Like if I church myself up a little bit, or if I present myself as something that is a little bit less than par or a little bit of a white lie, I feel like there's a lot more consequences for me doing that than as an attractive female. And that might be a judgment, but in my experience, especially coming from that kind of AA style world or like the recovery world, um, dude, if you were caught in the smallest of lie, like you were a piece of shit. Like, oh, this guy's fake. And then you're getting excluded from the herd. You know what I mean? You're getting branded a liar, as a manipulator, as a gaslighter, as all the words, And so like I have a paranoia as like, ooh, I don't want to present myself as something that I'm not.
Well, let's just keep a pin on this for a second. So you mentioned because of all the judgments that come from it, like the ridicule, the punishment, the judgments, the accusations, all the things that come from being a liar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it funny that why is this only one-sided?
I don't know.
That girl's profile is probably not authentic.
Probably.
Why do none of these judgments apply to women?
That's a very
Wait,
good question.
I do want to make sure that's an adult human, right? Like it's an
Yeah.
adult. Why does the standard of adulthood only apply to men? Like, don't be a liar.
You got me. I don't have an answer for this.
Yeah, that's really funny. So you're holding yourself up to like, I just want to point out that the idea of like being so concerned about the judgments, just instead of just going, well, I don't like doing that because I have integrity.
Yes.
Like, fuck your judgment. I just don't like being a liar.
Yeah, and there is part of that too, because just on the journey to being a good man, or integrity is important. And honesty is important. Are there times to where we'll lie, quote unquote? Sure, you know what I mean. There's times we keep the peace, or we don't speak. You might be lying through omission, but I've faced a lot of serious consequences in my life for being a liar, and that's not a behavior that I want to continue. So that's a challenging. It's a challenging thing to do with any form of social media, right? Because people are it's rooted in judgment. You're going to be judged on your appearance, you're going to be judged on the way your profile's set up, you're going to be judged on the hobbies and the interests that you have, and you're going to be judged on the pictures and the experiences that you've tried to picture to represent you, and you will be judged accordingly before any type of interaction has ever taken place.
What's the concern you have with that? Just so I can be aware of what the word, because like your perspective is different from mine. So I'm curious on what the concern is.
I think for me, my main concern is I don't internally feel adequate yet. That's my biggest thing.
Cool. So like this is where like I'm curious on the judgment of adequacy. Is it compared to of your chimera, your version of you that you could be, or is it compared to like all these social media influencers or something? Like, what are you talking about?
Well, and see, I'm still trying to figure that out, right? Because I don't do a lot of social media. I'll scroll on YouTube a little bit, but like no Instagram, no Facebook, no TikTok, none of that stuff. The thing I think where my insecurity comes from is just a lack of life experience
Well, how do you get life experience?
by doing it.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, and so there's the paradox.
What? You have to
You
leave your house?
Yes. And for a type 5 and an introvert, like leaving the house, it's like, I don't want to, like, you got to pry me out of the house. So I'm in this phase of growth to where being uncomfortable is really the tool I need, and getting out of these comfort zones, getting this experience, and really seeing, hey, does what everybody keeps telling me are these things true? Are these actually happening? Or are these just judgments from these people's experiences and these people's perspectives? And I'm just on a journey figuring it out.
Probably both.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, some of it's happening and most of it's just people's opinions.
Yes.
And so then you go, so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, let's go talk to people. Let's go see what's going on. And it's really funny. I really do. I'm prophesizing right now. I really do believe that in this next handful of years here, pending they create an AI that kills everybody. Like, aside from that, I think that this authenticity and spirituality thing is going to be going really hard very soon. We're going to be going big back into love, back into connection, back into unity. Now, I think it's going to be a big split. There will be an entire section of population that goes right into self-worship and self-destruction and just crashes. And it's going to be truthfully very heartbreaking to watch. But I believe there's going to be a modern day hippie movement that goes back towards spirituality and relationship with God and love and being good to each other. And I think there's going to be a whole big movement of pure radical accountability and authenticity to do good and be good. And I think in the realm of that, the standard in which you're holding yourself to is going to fit very well into somebody who's just looking for somebody who also just wants to be with me. Like, I just want to love and be. I don't need you to take me on a yacht. I don't need you to buy me drinks for me to get fucking drunk every day. I don't need to get, you don't have to buy me stuff all the time to connect and love me for my heart and my soul. And I think there's going to be a big direction that goes into deep authenticity. And that means all of this fabrication and fraudulence that people are trying to sell right now is going to just be exposed as like useless. And that just makes you, if that's the direction that this goes, you're ahead of the curve.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What's up, warriors? All right, you guys are listening to this show, and I hope you're loving it. But right now, I need you to know we actually do real deep work psychology. What the Warriors Way mindset is, it's a battlefield philosophy applied to human transformation. Together we rise and we train our men to be better men every day. There's goodness in you. We want to train you to be undeniably great. And so this isn't branding, this is tactical doctrine to help us so that we train together because our families and this world need strong men again. This is the way. Click the link to join in with our community, start training in our programs today, and I look forward to getting on the battlefield with you.
Well, that's reassuring, and I appreciate that compliment. And I really hope you're right, because here's what I see, right? And so I have a very strategist style mind. If we're going to kind of speak in our language and speak freely, I don't like to be in the battle, so to speak. I like to win the battle before it's even started, and this is problematic for love, for relationships, because it's not something that you strategize, it's something that you do. and it's something that you experience, right? And it requires a lot of vulnerability, and it requires a lot of authenticity, right? And so in my first my marriage, my first ever relationship, I've been with, I think, 3 women my entire life. 2 of them I would hardly call sex or a relationship. It was like awkward teenage interactions. And then I got married the other one. We were together for a decade. We were on and off for 17 years. And so what I learned in my biggest mistakes is I was so afraid to be myself because I didn't feel like myself was worth loving, right? And there was a lot of curses there that were planted, and that's a pattern as a fully grown adult and a trained man. Like I know how to do all of these things. I've been given everything I need. I have all the tools. I have all the knowledge. Now I'm at the doing phase, and that's a hard phase, but it's fun and it's rewarding, and it's caused me to grow at a substantial rate, faster than I ever had, because and we've had conversations here recently about this with a lot of guys, is we're trying to define, hey, how do I do love? Like, what's step 2? Or like, what's step 5? I think I'm at this step. It's like, dude, like, I don't think there's any steps, and that's what I'm figuring out is this idea that I've sold myself based on television, social media, my peers, experts. You got who's the like the Gottman Institutes and the Arthur Brookses and the Tony Robbinses of the world. Like, I've got this idea in my head of what it should be, and that's kind of my experience with the dating app. I'm like, ooh man, like I like, judging by what all these women are wanting, I'm convincing myself that I should be all these things that meet these requirements. Like, you see it, it's so silly. It's like, no,
Well,
like, don't
this
do
is
that.
what's
Like,
funny about that is because like they've done like deep studies. They've done deep studies on this to be able to go, let's see what women really want. Let's check, because we got to get this right. We got to get it right for women's sake. We got to get this right. And they've done massive studies, and there's even people like huge studies. And at the end of it, they've gotten to where like women have no idea. Like, it's been universally proven they don't know. And that's not to be rude. It's just they've done like, we got to get the answer. We've got to get the answer. And so they've checked over and over and over again. Like, what do they want? It's so funny that you're going to take them like they know. It's really interesting to go like they unequivocally, they know they don't know. It changes like the weather. They don't know. And even funnier, and I've seen this in our women's group, and they've even laughed because they're like, yep, that's true. As soon as you catch on to what they want, they change it. I don't know what the fuck that is. There's some chaotic element inside of women to keep you guessing, to make it fun for some reason. It's interesting. But if you roll with that, it's actually not a bad thing. But don't get caught up like they actually know, because what they truly want is a guy who's really just authentic to himself, but he's like good.
yes.
Like, he's good. And so if you ever try to match up to her expectations, let me just tell you the truth, guys. And this is for you and all men. If you ever try to live up to her expectations, you're being worse than what you really are. That means if you ever actually match her standards, you're a worse person than you really would be if you just matched your own.
Yes. And that's kind of what I'm finding. Not that I have a lot of experience, but it is correct. And I experienced this when we were in like marital counseling and a lot of these, couples groups, and they're trying to teach all these tactics and all these things. And I noticed a pattern is when, so mine, it was for infidelity. You know what I mean? My wife was very betrayed by the fact that I used pornography. And so
but you knew all the guys that she slept with.
Yes, exactly.
That doesn't count though.
And we'll get into that, because like it's so ironic. Like, it's painful and you have to laugh at it. And so what I saw is like the women would come in and they're very hurt and they're betrayed and all the feelings, and they're victims, and all the guys are they're more desperate. They're like, dude, like I don't realize what I just did. Now I'm paying a lot of money to be in this room that I'm very uncomfortable with. And the men, like the men and women counselors that are supposed to be representing me, they'll straight up tell you like, hey bud, real talk, just don't ever expect me to take your side when things are live. Like when we're in the room together, I get it, but just do not. I've had this. These are words that were absolutely spoken to me. Hey, don't ever expect me to take your side. And so you would watch when the guys are new and they come in, you'll watch them just get slowly beaten down and beaten down and beaten down and beaten down, and they succumb to what the women are telling them they want. I want full transparency. Okay, I'll use this as an example because I could go for hours. I want full transparency, right? And so we had a couple, like a couples counselors. They sat us down and they're like, all right, we're gonna do what you call a full disclosure, right? So they wanted me to sit down with my wife at the time and tell her every sexual encounter I have ever had. They wanted me to share what type of women I found attractive, what type of pornography I've viewed, women or girls I kissed when I was in junior high or had a crush on, right? And I was like, guys, this does not sound like a good idea. And they're like, well, she can't heal from whatever she doesn't know. And they'll throw these terms at you, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then I fully transparently I tell this woman everything, and Rick, it fucked her life up.
It fucks all of their lives up. This is why girls don't do this to guys, because you don't want to know what she did when she was 19 with the football team.
Nope.
You don't want to know this. You don't want to know that she fantasized about fucking vampires. You don't want to know this.
Yes. And how do I know this is because I knew, like, I came from a town where there were 600 people. Like, I knew every man that my wife dated before me. And the worst part is like, they were all my friends. Like, we all got along. We hung out. We were, we were doing sports. We were playing guitar together. We were going mudding or whatever you do in hick towns. I'm like, God dang it. Like, and then there was like this inner betrayal inside of myself that one, I couldn't identify at the time, just because I was so unaware and untrained in I think my intentions were still kind of naive. And I was in this position, not because I thought I needed to change or because I thought I was wrong, which there were several times I was. I'm not like justifying or making myself a victim or any of that. But the biggest thing I found later is like, dude, I was betraying myself so hard. And I was such a chameleon and just such a fucking pushover to try to appeal to all these things that I internally knew were bullshit. And I'm like, dude, this is not going to work, but I don't want to just see my kids on the weekend. So whatever, you want a finger today? You want a toe? You want a foot? You want an ear? Like what piece of me do I have to cut off to satiate this vengeance that you feel from this betrayal, right?
It destroys both parties. Here's the issue is the guys like you and some of the other guys that have come from these things, you guys can get back on your feet again.
Yeah.
It seems like whenever I see the way that some of these organizations that are supposed to be helping the men or helping with couples, it seems like the women rarely recover.
They don't.
Even today, we've had a couple of the guys who are like, we have to divorce because now that I'm healing and realizing like I did those things that damage her, because like, let me do radical truths on things that really aren't relevant to the health of the relationship. Like, I have to destroy her with information or unload on her or let her unload on you. I've even seen that too, this weather the storm concept.
Mm-hmm.
It destroys every element of safety security for a woman's internal being. Herself is demolished because it removes all reassurance of safety.
Yes.
It destroys it, and they never recover. And I've seen this in multiple, like we got guys from groups. I don't want to kill the groups right now, but I would be happy to let them all know which ones are fucked up. We have guys come in from other men's groups, and just like you guys, and you've had a couple of guys from your groups, where it's like, the women are destroyed. They're demolished. They can't recover. And the only option is the guys get back on their feet and go, damn it, that was really bad. I didn't know it was bad, though. I thought I was doing good. I thought I was helping her, but we didn't know. And the women, they don't seem to be able to recover. Their just identity is now stuck in this perpetual victimhood forever.
Yes.
There's no way out. And the sad thing is they were taught to be this so deeply that they actually don't want to get out either. And that's why they can't get out, is they're like, no, my identity is the victim. And I have to do this because it's the only way I get attention. I get noticed. I get love. I get appreciation. I get sympathy. I get empathy. I get all the things that I want. And the poison is it reverses their love system to come from tragedy instead of from connection. And Anthony Dahlman Jones, when he told me, when you're working with people that the value of their problems outweigh the value of the solution, you can never help them. And that's what happens to these women, is the value of the problem or the tragedy or the victimhood is so much more important to them to have that, because that's where power comes from. That's where their certainty comes from. That's where their attention comes from. That's where people notice me from. And that means the more tragic the situation, the better they are. And that means even if they get a perfect situation, they have to sabotage it and destroy it just so they can tell everybody even perfect things don't go well for me. Because having a good thing, well, that doesn't give me attention. And so I don't ever want you to fix it. Because if you fix it, you take away my power. If you help me, I lose power. If you are in any way heal me, I lose power. And that's something that I haven't seen very many times ever get broken out of. And it attacks the women far more than the men because it's a perpetual system of reverse love system. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to a lot of psychologists, therapists, authors, coaches, and they're like, I've never seen it beaten. It just ends up becoming who you are till you're dead.
You're correct. And, you know, like I had somebody explain it to me like this, right? It's like, when we get into these situations, especially when it's like infidelity or you have two people that are very broken and they get into a relationship, this was me and I am so guilty of all this. Like if my relationship was a fence, like in your yard, right? Every time I did something that was damaging, I demeaned her. I yelled at her. I said something that was really hurtful, a very personal attack. I lied in like a very small way, you know, fill in the blank, right? I drilled a hole in this fence, right? Or I put a nail. Let's say it's a nail first. You know, I drove a nail into this fence, right? And by the time I was healthy enough, and that's a key word, healthy enough to like start the process and have the awareness to understand what I was doing and what was going on with me and why I was reacting this way. Like once I started pulling these nails out, I'm like, oh shit, there's a hole there. I can't fill that hole back in. Like I can take the nail out, but there's still a hole. And my fence was just it was Swiss cheese. Like you could barely, it was so full of these little tiny holes that you could barely tell it was a fence anymore. And, you know, you say a thing in the group that's really clever. It's like, you know, Jesus couldn't do miracles in Nazareth. They're like, you're not the Messiah. Like you're John's boy. I know you, dude. I grew up with you. Like, not Jesus. Get out of here.
It was Joe's boy, Joseph.
Or yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm not a theologist. But
it might have actually been John's boy, but we'll call it Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, Joseph. There you go. But like our wives and our spouses, after so many years of turmoil and just bullshit and back and forth and petty, just hurt, like. I don't think you're ever going to, after a certain point, you are not going to step out of this character. I mean, it's the foundation, and it's very sad and it's unfortunate. And when grieving, through the death of my marriage, like that was one of the hardest aspects for me. It's like, God dang it. Like I did too much. I went too far and I was so unauthentic and so afraid and so conforming and so defiant and just eager to like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. Just just be with me. Like I'm so desperate for human connection, that I'm like, a woman cannot love a chameleon. Like, bro, that's a lizard. Like, that's a reptile. Like, they want to love a man. And unfortunately, like, I was not a good man. I didn't know how to model it. And so on my journey now, there's a lot of mistakes that I've learned from that I'm trying not to repeat. And that's where some of my irrational fears and judgments come from when doing this new journey. Because I'm like, I don't want to put myself in this position ever again. Like, hard lesson learned. And so there is an honesty and an authenticity element to this, and integrity, if we want to start just throwing words that people love to say that we don't know what they mean anymore, into this conversation. It's just like, I don't want to present myself as anything other than I'm not. Like, under promise and over deliver. That's kind of my goal for life right now.
I think it's a good advice thing. There's also something too. I think being friends with different guys makes it so it's very useful, and especially here's the thing too: is like as we've gotten older, like I'm out of the dating game, but I was on the bad boy side, and there's shit that we did that fucking worked, dude. But remember, honest asshole. It was way better than really nice liar. So this is where it'd be like, well, if you're trying to get in there, being an honest asshole was far more successful than being the chameleon nice guy liar. Like, do you want to know some things that fucking worked? Because I'll tell you how radical authenticity was way better. It was way better. I would have dates I would like go on, or I'd have a girl come and like meet. I never really hung out with her, but let's hang out. And then she would come over. I'd still be in like my like work clothes or like chill clothes or pajamas. I've even like, I was working at the hospital at one point. I just still kept my scrubs on and just got off of work and just hanging out. I didn't change clothes or dress up. And then while she was hanging out, I would just do like how I have to like do chores. The dishes need to get done anyway. So I'll just talk to you while I do the dishes. Or I'm just going to cook some food and I'll make something. You hungry? Like I was going to eat anyways. So like you can just be there for what I'm doing. Or I got to finish this laundry. So I'll just talk to you while I'm finishing laundry. I would just do regular like life. I didn't change a damn thing that I was going to do if she wasn't there at all. And it's really funny that like I didn't do anything I wouldn't have been doing. And they were like, wow, he cleans up and he takes care of shit and he doesn't care. And he's so confident. And like, I'm like, this is what I'd be doing if you weren't here. These dishes still had to get done. This wasn't about like showing off or showing up. This is like, if you weren't here, the same action happens. I didn't have to wine and dine. I didn't even like most of the time I wouldn't even drink. Like we just talk and just listen to their stories and just talk and just do regular shit. I'm wearing my fucking pajamas or some shit on a first date, doing dishes just while I'm listening to her tell me her stories. Like, and this would be very successful. Because there's a lot of things they're watching. What do you like in real life? And what do you do? Like, who are you really? And you're not trying to pretend to be some fake thing. It's like, well, he does the dishes at least. That's nice. And well, he'll do laundry. He's not going to make me do all his laundry. That's kind of nice. And he seems independent on taking care of his shit. And he seems confident enough that he doesn't have to pretend to wear something fake to make it so that I like him. And like, he's being fucking raw and real with me on the way he shares stuff. And he's a good listener because while he's doing stuff, he can multitask. That's nice. And I'm doing all these behaviors that are good behaviors, but I didn't change a fucking thing from what I was going to do if she wasn't there at all. And it worked. And I'm just telling you, as a homebody, that's a successful thing. Like, I'm just doing what I normally do. I take care of my kids. I take care of myself. I take care of the dishes. I take care of the home. I clean up. I got vacuum lines because I like them. Like, not because of you, because that's what I do. Like, I like them. And, it's like, that works because you're really just being you. And I'm just going to tell you, just as far as like, if you're looking for like these girls who are like, buy me all the things. And you're like, I'm looking to be with somebody, not just pay for somebody. And I think that's very important. I don't care what you look like because love isn't, you have to see somebody with your eyes closed. And so you have to measure somebody's authentic traits, not just what they look like on a first date. Like, did you get all dolled up? Authenticity is more important than a sales pitch.
Dude, and I hear that and I'm like, fuck, that worked.
Oh yeah,
Like my introverted like my inside brain is like that does not compute. Like Captain, that's not logical.
no problem. We're
like,
talking.
like
No
God dang it.
issues. I would just be fucking real, and it worked very well.
It's so funny.
That's why I was
It-
like, that's why I like to listen. I'm like, what was the plan again? You're like, well, I was going to pretend to be this thing, and then I was going to act like I do this, and then I was going to just change myself to whatever she says she likes, and then I was going to do this, and I'm like, so you're just going to lie the whole fucking time until she likes you?
Mhm.
Yeah, but if I buy her a lot of things, because she said she wants me to pay for all these things, if I buy her things and then pretend to be what she likes, then she'll love me. I'm like, motherfucker, you know that doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
Because eventually you get found out and you're a fraud, and then she resents and has contempt from you. Like, she hates you.
Yeah. And dude, that happens on such small scales. Like I remember my ex-wife used to make spaghetti squash, and I ate it for like the first probably dozen times. And like I fucking hate spaghetti squash. I had a lot of bad training, like happy wife, happy life, man. Like don't ever criticize. It doesn't matter if it's a burnt piece of charcoal. Like you eat that when it hits the plate and you say thank you, right? And then like I remember having this conversation. I mean, we were maybe like a year in or something, and she's like, yeah, I'm making spaghetti squash. And like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to lean into just reality here. I'm like, dude, like I hate spaghetti squash and I hate when you make it because like, I just don't like it. And then it caused this whole big ordeal. And I'm like, what the hell? Like you, I'm just trying to be honest, and I'm trying to just speak freely and have that vulnerability or transparency that everybody keeps telling me they want. And then when I do it, it's a problem. But the problem isn't that I'm doing it. It's because I presented myself as something I wasn't for a long period of time, and then I chose to do it.
Well, there's two parts of this that's goofed up. One, yeah, you were trying to be nice, and so you didn't tell the truth. Good intention, bad behavior. The other part, too, is why did you do that? Well, she's not good at the truth anyways, so it's kind of not wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you tell her the truth, when you have an immature person, they punish the truth.
Yeah.
This goes for all my parents out there. As soon as your kid tells you the truth and you punish them, punch yourself. You're an idiot. You can, that's my judgment. And you guys can put that on my tombstone if you guys really fucking don't like me. If you punish your kid for telling you the truth, you taught your kid to lie to you.
Yes.
This is fucking important because I see a lot of people who go, why are you doing that? Because I said so. It's like, you're the worst. You're actually, your kid will have to deal with your stupid later on.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to work through. My parents didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Why? They just said because I said so, but there was no teaching, no growth, no connection, no empathy, no anything positive. It was just because. And then later on, you realize my parents didn't have a fucking clue with what they were doing at all. And they punished the truth, which taught me to be a liar.
Whoo, buddy. So that's a huge can of worms. And this whole situation of what you just described really got me into my deep dive of psychology, right? Because I was I want to say I was like 25 or so when I started getting into this like AA, men's help, recovery style stuff, like the marital counseling, right? And I never felt good about the like the tools and the tactics and the behaviors that I was witnessing. Like I knew something was off, but I didn't have the awareness to articulate it yet, right? So I fell under this guy. I'll call him out. I don't care. He's a piece of shit. His name's Dr. Doug Weiss. He runs a practice out of Colorado. It's called Heart to Heart Counseling. In
J.R. Harvey and I ate that guy's lunch on one of his videos one time. He's
oh yeah. I mean, it's straight up evil what this guy did, right? So I'll briefly describe something. So this guy, he was a self-proclaimed sex addict, right? Like he was obsessed with sex and masturbation, all this crap. And so he invented this thing. It's called intimacy anorexia, right? He invented his own diagnosis from a practice that he created with the letters that follow his name that he invented. Okay, this is very clever for a trained psychologist. And what intimacy anorexia is what this guy created. he works primarily in the field of infidelity for women who have been betrayed. And he says this. He's like, I put a language to how women feel. We've covered this. Women don't know what the hell they want, right? And so this guy's like, ooh, I'm going to make some money. He created a language to help women feel heard and understand after betrayal. And so this language is the man in your life, he cheated on you because one, he's an immature little boy and all these other little gaslighting things. And what he's going to do is he's going to maintain distance on purpose. So let's say like physical touch is the way you like to be loved. He's going to withhold that from you on purpose because he's so afraid of intimacy that he needs to keep you at a distance for sex. And the first time this was explained to me, I'm like, what in the actual fuck are you like? What? Like this is nonsense, guys. And the rebuttal every time, it doesn't matter what environment I was in, is Jordan, you're just not ready for recovery, man. You love yourself and you love your addiction and you love your secrets more than you love your wife. And I'm a 25-year-old dum-dum, and my first ever relation. I'm like, what do I do with this, right? And so, long story short, this guy, he's a multimillionaire. He's wrote 30 books on how to save your marriage and all this shit. And he's done the circuits. And but what's ironic about this is he used the term that he invented to gaslight his own wife and divorce her after 30 years to have an affair with a woman who runs a Christian network that he used to counsel her and her husband. The husband died. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get that ass. And he used his own term that he invented to psychologically manipulate an entire customer base. I'm like, what? I was like, this is insane. And it lit this fire under me to be like, if this is happening in this area, where else is a lot of this modern psychology being weaponized against us? And oh my God, it's everywhere. Everywhere I look, in advertisements, in social media, in television, at the doctor's office, at the grocery. It's like, we all think that these tools are like, oh, dude, I know my attachment style. Like, I'm going to be a better partner. I now I know that my parents are a narcissist, so I can come to peace. And I'm like, oh, guys, like, nope, don't fall for this. Don't fall for this. Like, this is killing us, and we think it's great. We love it, and
they feel like they have like I'm not alone anymore. I want to just kind of like read it back in Rick speak. It's amazing when somebody can create structure for victim language, because women require structure, and any type of structure that makes it feel like this can be safe or secure, they will gravitate toward. And this guy created, I'll give a language that makes it so that I can give you that structure. I'll create a structure for you. Ladies, you're heard. Ladies, you're heard. And you matter, and your heart is important. It's like, finally, someone who cares about my heart. The game plan then is, I actually saw a lady talk about this, and I want to put this out there, where can a man who does not have honor, like there's no nobility to him, no honor, can a man with no honor ever feel shame?
Do you want me to actually answer that, or is that a rhetorical?
Think about it. Yeah, no. I mean, maybe both.
Well, what is shame? Shame is I am bad. It's an identity thing, right? So a man with no honor, he's not going to have shame because he doesn't feel bad for the evil things that he's doing.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
No,
so what kind of person then could I use shame to control?
You have to have a man with a good heart.
You have to be a decent human being in order for this to work, which means I'm going to glorify the victimhood of a woman and call it structure, so she has safety, security, and dependency on me. I'll create a punishment system that only works on good men, to destroy good men, to make it so that I am now the center of their universe for safety, security, and hope. I think you can already see how this is going. And then I'll be destroying honorable men, have them both punished, so I have dependency, and my weapon of destruction will be love.
Yep.
And this guy is the embodiment of evil in this case. This guy, and just so you guys can know, you guys can send him this video. Dr. Weiss, you're fucking evil. And you can I'll throw him on the show because I don't mind talking to these guys. And so this is the one where it's like I weaponize love, destroy honorable men, and then put women into a victimhood mentality for their safety, security that they can never break out of by reversing their love system and creating a dependency on me to say that I'm the messiah of healthy relationships while I cheat on my wife with somebody who's a widow, who is in my group, who runs a Christian network. Fucking, you're a hypocrite. Matthew 7:21-23. This is like,
Yes.
you did all these things in God's name. You mean your name?
Well, and
Use
it's
God for yourself.
well, here's what's really the most upsetting part is this works so well. I mean, this guy is a multimillionaire, right? And so, kind of like I alluded to earlier, like we'd be in these groups, and you would watch the women get empowered with this victimhood. You know, they're like, "You're a princess warrior. You are a hero for staying in this relationship. Like you are so strong. You know, God bless your heart." And, you know, and then they got all the Bible verses to back everything up and really thump it in you. And then, so that's how the woman's side worked. And then the men's side, all the men are like, dude, this doesn't feel good, but I don't want to give the impression like I'm unwilling. So like this guy's model, what another psychological abuse example is like, he took the Pavlov's dog experiment, you know, ring the bell, feed the dog. So you condition the dog to salivate by the sound of a bell, not by actual food. So his theory was you ring the bell, you spank the dog, right? So the man he's an addict. He's a little boy. He's immature. You married a child instead of a man. That's why he does these things that he does, right? And so you ring the bell, you spank the dog. So what they got all the men in the group to do was the men would have to design their own series of punishments for a list of unwanted behaviors. So, you know, one example is like, let's say a guy, every time they were out, like the guy was rubbernecking. You know, he was like, ooh, hot. She's hot. Ooh, she's pretty, you know? So I was with a guy, he really struggled with this. You know, he was a looker and it drove his wife insane. And so he's like, every time I look, I would put a rock in my shoe and I would walk around all day with that rock in my shoe. Or I would wear a rubber band on my wrist. And every time I had like an inappropriate or lustful thought, I would snap this rubber band. Or some guys would be like, man, I lied to my wife, so I had to eat a raw onion. Or like some guys would eat like yogurt because it made them sick. They were lactose intolerant to punish themselves, right? And I'm like, guys, like this doesn't seem effective. It's like, oh, you want to masturbate? Like now you're going to smoke a whole pack of cigarettes. I'm like, what? This doesn't make sense, right? And so on the women's side, they watch their man, this person that they're looking to for structure, for safety, for provision, for protection. They're watching this guy willingly just fuck himself up and degrade himself and shame himself and crawl on his knees and just beg and, honey, you're my hero. Thank you so much for staying with me. Oh, I'm so grateful and all my feelings. And let me just share my transparency. And then the women go, ick. Like, did I marry a fucking neutered dog? And then, so here's where the money gets made, is they go back to the same counselor who just destroyed their husband to figure out, why do I hate my husband now? Like, do you see what's happening? This is an absolute system of pure psychological manipulation and abuse to destroy families. And it works. Like I saw very few couples come out the other side. And the ones that did came out the other side, they dedicated their entire life to like infidelity or restoring marriages. They started a ministry. They started a business. Those are the only ones. That's the only ones who made it. Everybody else, they got fucking wrecked.
Destroyed families.
They got wrecked.
This is my definition of evil. It's when you take love and use it as a weapon. When you
Mhm.
destroy innocence or purity or good intention or kindness or compassion or love, if you take something that's good and then you weaponize it to
Mhm.
do harm on purpose, this would be the closest things to evil that I can think of. If I want to destroy something beautiful, I want to destroy it, not just use it, fucking annihilate the best parts of people for money or profit or power or attention or whatever. That's evil. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. And this is how you can tell if you're fucking evil, is does it make you happy to destroy good things? Like, do you get joy, like happiness? I get pleasure from the annihilation of a family or of love or
Mhm.
of partnership or of dreams or of purity or of innocence or of kindness. It makes me happy. You're fucking evil.
Yep. Well, and the hardest part about all this, and like, let me make something very clear. I'm not a victim to any of this. Like, I am in no way. I'm not a victim to anything but my own choices. Like, I chose to stay in this because I was such a coward and such a chameleon that, like, I'm like, dude, I can't leave my wife. Like, my entire identity is based off of being a husband, being a father. Like, I won't. I'm nothing without this person because I had such little self esteem, and then I didn't have the articulation and the fortitude and the authenticity part of me to be like, hey, I see what you guys are doing, and this is evil, and I will have no part of it. But I am dedicated to being a better man and being able to just to do these things as me. Like, I failed as a leader. I didn't lead my family. I didn't have goals. I didn't have aspirations. I wasn't a good provider. I wasn't emotionally intelligent. I wasn't a good communicator. Like, all of these things, it's on me. It's on me. You know what I mean? And I take full ownership and I take full responsibility. And that's what I love so much about finding your community, is because there's a lot of guys that come in and they're like, dude, my wife's doing this. I'm like, dude, I'll tell you what, I don't even need to know what is going on in your relationship. Like, let me just talk with you. Like, what is going on with you, man? Like, where are you at? Like, and then after about maybe 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, you're on a mission, dude. I did that. And that's why your life's fucked up. And you'll see somebody like, so it's not anything to do with my wife. I'm like, nah, dude, like, it's right here. Like, if you change this, I guarantee you. And then they'll come back after like a week, like, dude, we had sex for the first time in like a year. Like, bro, my wife's she like kissed me goodbye this morning. She made me lunch. Like, what is going on? I'm like, dude, this works, doesn't it? Like, this, it's backwards because we're taught to just destroy ourselves to make somebody else happy. And the women know internally, like, ew, I don't like that. But then the women are being told, like, hey, if he's not transparent, if he's not sharing every single freaking thought he has with you, and he's not just fully open, and like, they're being gaslit. Then they're making these wild dating profiles of like all these expectations of men, and
Well,
it's a
women.
mess.
Well, I mean, I love, you already know, because you've seen me hundreds of times, if not more. The guys come in with their stories, and I go, stop your story. I see, stop. It's you, dude. Stop. And then, like, you see how quickly in just a couple minutes I'll dissect a person's human, like a whole existence. I can break them down. And it's cool that you've been around me long enough. Like, dude, stop. Nope, I know that. Stop. It's not her, dude. You're doing a thing. I like that, man. It's really fun too when you start getting like quick at like, dude, I did the same thing, man. You can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's also really tough with the gaslighting thing and with the truth element. Just so you know, and I'm going to be very on the record with this one. And I am well aware I play in the deep end of the psych pool. I'm well aware. I have never met one woman yet in existence. I have never met one that deception is not her main tool of survival defense. Not one. I've never met a woman yet that does not understand the power of truth and lies. And they learn this in like 6th grade. They learn this through reputation demolition, through rumors, how girls bully girls. They learn very quickly that allegations and rumors and lies, and especially truth, can all be used to do radical harm, especially girls who have been bullied by girls and girls who bully girls. And they use this on weak males because a weak male will fall right into the same thing. They're easy to control by just creating allegation or distruth or just making shit up. They can just do it. And it works on weak people. It's Jedi mind tricks. These are not the droids you're looking for. Like they do Jedi mind tricks, and it works on weak minds. And it does. This is why the nice guys are food. Like they're set up for radical failure because they're easy to manipulate. They can be Jedi mind tricked. And that's why the bad boys are so much more successful, is because like, I don't even give a fuck about these droids. They're like, they're not the droids. I'm like, fuck the droids. I'll break the droids now. They're like, I don't care about droids. They're like, my trick's not working. I don't know what's happening, but I find it attractive. They're like, that's really funny. It's very interesting. If the trick doesn't work, it's like they like you. It's very interesting. But I'm just saying that women understand the power of truth and lies. And that's why they lie more than they even call it lying. Mm-hmm. I've never met a woman yet, and I'll call anybody out, who hasn't used deception as their main tool of influence. Mm-hmm. Not kidding. Otherwise, why do we wear makeup? It's called makeup. It's made up. It's not authentic. It's not real. And when I had the women's group and I broke makeup down, it was like 5 curses mixed into one identity.
It's a brutal game. It really is. And then it's fascinating. It's fascinating to watch. And let me just state intention. My intention by sharing this information and just having this conversation is not to shit on either side or cause any more division that is already tactically happening, right? What I would like to see, in my goal for having conversations like this, is to try to bring people back together. And let's stop falling for the card trick and catch the magician. Because, dude, there's a lot of magicians out here, and they're good. Like, they're Chris Angel, mind freak motherfuckers out here. The only difference is they got some letters behind their name. They're the expert. They know what's best for you. And they know how to utilize these tools that they've been taught on a clinical level to maintain power, to maintain control for the relationship, right? And what's your famous saying? Control kills love. And so just learning and especially for young guys, and I'm in my early 30s, and I still struggle with this, just helping guys find who they authentically are and not falling for the pressures of social media and their peers and trying to live up to these expectations of things that it's like, dude, like, for one, like, I don't even think you want that. Women don't want that, and they don't even know they don't want that. It's going to cause it's going to take you 3 marriages to figure it out, or whatever, or it's going to cost you a business or all your retirement, or, you hear all the horror stories. And then you got all the red pill guys on YouTube, and they're like, yeah, just make money and treat women like bitches, and that power, that's what, it's like, that's terrible advice. And then you got the other side where it's like, put women on a pedestal. They're your queen, lift them up, praise them, and nothing wrong with chivalry, these are all, they have fairly good intentions, but they're being seen at such a scale, and they're being weaponized at such a highly psychologically convincing rate that we fall for them. Like, we're very good at selling these concepts to untrained minds. And with the rise of technology and the amount of distractions that are available to us today, it's never been easier to condition a human mind, right? So in my findings in psychology, I started researching after the Doug Weiss incident. I'm like, well, what else are they using? Like, one of the most fascinating things that I found was the Universe 25 experiment. This was done in, I think, early 70s. It's probably like 72.
He started at the end of the 60s, but his findings were like reported in the early 70s.
Yeah.
Dr. Calhoun. Calhoun did that.
Yep, Dr. John Calhoun. And so what he did was he created a utopia for mice, right? And he figured out that, long story short, if you keep feeding a population of mice into a place where they have abundant resources, they don't have to work for anything, and you can eliminate purpose, the society will collapse every time. Once the mice reach a certain population, and once they have unlimited provisions, sexual partners, food, water, things like caffeine or cocaine were optional to the mice. Like after a while, they would start doing things, and some of the first things that would happen would be like sexual deviancy. They would abandon choosing mates. They would form smaller cliquey groups, and then they would fight with each other. They would get into things like cannibalism and murder, apathy, depression. These skyrocketed, and these mice. And what did they have to do? They eliminated purpose, right? That's all they had to do. Just supply abundancy and eliminate purpose. And that is the biggest and scariest reflection of modern day society that we live in I've ever seen. It's like it's never been easier to, for a guy like me, I don't have a lot of experience with women, and I don't really know what I want, and I'm fairly intimidated by what I'm being presented on a profile. So it's never been easier for me to be like, dude, like I'm just gonna stay home and rub one out to some pornography. I'm gonna hop on the PlayStation. I'm gonna play a guitar or something. I have an endless amount of distractions, food, abundancy, drugs, marijuana, Adderall, all these different things. Like I think like I don't even want to play this game. It's never been easier for me to just self-eliminate my own purpose. What is the reward for me busting my ass and working hard and having integrity in doing all these things when a guy like an Andrew Tate is just going to step on my head on the way on the rise. This guy's making money, and he's a seasoned fighter, and he's on paper, he's appealing like, hey dude, if you do this, you will have success. But it's like, yeah, but like, dude, you just like pimped out a bunch of women, and you're really cutthroat, and you don't have a lot of honor. Like you abandon your entire country, you abandon your religion. And these young kids are like, why the fuck would I want to work hard? Why would I want to chase this woman? Why would I want to do these things? They don't seem to have like a very good reward for doing them.
The purpose then becomes the self-worship, instant gratification, like the self-worship, and I get really hard on those where it's like, I don't think the 7 deadly sins, I got 24. I'm like, there's a lot you can fall into really easily. And so when it comes into these elements of self-worship, I think you and I were talking about this. When it comes to self-worship, it doesn't create, it only consumes. It only takes greed, gluttony, lust, wrath, sloth. You start going down those ones. You go into deceit, you go into control, you go into fear. You start getting into all these elements of ourselves, doubt, and all these things that start just consuming. They eat and they take good things and they don't create more. They consume and destroy. And it makes you sick. These things, like the more abundance of things that you consume, the less you're okay. And there is no new currency that comes from this. It's just gather and hoard and keep. And this is why I've been going so hard on like, well, what is the purpose? Like, what's the purpose for all of these things? And you can see that once you have all of your self-worship needs instantly gratified, there is no need to try to do something that would be better. And this creates complacency. Remove purpose, insert complacency, and then watch everything just deteriorate and rot. And that's what happens very easily. Now, that's why I talk about what are the greatest currencies, like loyalty and love and things like this, where the rules are actually backwards. It's not about taking and consuming. It's about giving and multiplying. And that's why I say, like, if you look at the rules on spirit and heart side, they're reversed from mind and body side. So if I'm getting into self-worship or selfishness, I destroy. But if I go into spirit or heart or love or purpose or meaning or relationship, it starts to multiply and you get more. But it's backwards. So the more I go, I love you, bro. I want to be there for you. I support you. Let's build you up. It makes me feel good to help you, which means I gave you love and now I have more love. It's backwards. But if I gave you $10, I don't have $10. But if I give you love, it doubles. And then if you go, dude, I appreciate that. I want to give you love back. And now you feel good and I feel good. And then we doubled it again. Now we have an abundant. Now we have more. We gave and have more. But if I take, I have less. And this is where you start watching a society that's built on instant gratification for taking. What about me? What about me? What about me? Worship me, like and subscribe me. Try and follow me. Follow me, me. And you see it's the second oldest religion that's ever been in existence. It's either follow the creator or meism, which is Eve. Do you want to be God or are you with God? You God? God. Which one are you with? I want to be God. Like, cool. You're the God of taking.
Mm-hmm.
You're the God of just consume and die. You're the God of just take. And what happens in a world with no purpose except for just taking from everybody? Universe 25. You start to watch it all fall apart. It all falls apart when you have a society based on consumption and self-destruction. I just will destroy myself with alcohol, with distractions like across the board. Could be drugs, could be pharmaceuticals, could be fads, could be online shopping, could be watching sports. I mean, you name it. You can, whatever takes you away from anything that would be authentic, growing, connecting, building, loving, anything that goes the opposite direction of togetherness and goes into self-worship. The society eventually crumbles, which is why my prophecy of there will be a modern hippie movement, which means hardworking, dedicated, purposeful will outwork you hippies, which is where the 70s was different because they're like, we don't want to work, man. No. These ones will fucking outwork your ass and love you deep, love hard, be authentic, be deeply committed to growing and building and loving and purposeful. I believe, and this is why we build this in the Warriors Way, good, strong, solid men will create a society of love. And this is where it starts because you watch the Eve element of, I want to be God. Well, I'm watching the women's circles of when women are in charge and these victimhood circles. I'm watching. And the women leading is not going well. Look at the children when there is no male in the house. They are not doing well. I have not seen a home yet where the woman leads that does not have disorder in the home. Not one. And I'll call all of you the fuck out. Your kids are on medication. They're all in therapy. Your guys got antidepressant meds or anti-anxiety medication. Like there's obesity or unhealthy behaviors in the house. There's control issues. There's shame that's ruling the building because that's not built like this. And women aren't built for leadership. They require structure they don't build. And I'm on record with this because I will break this shit down. But I have noticed as I work with women, if they have a solid, competent, good man, a man with integrity, a man with honor, a man who gives, a man who loves, but a man with boundaries and borders, and he holds the line and he doesn't compromise himself for emotions and bullshit that comes his way. I'll be defiantly good. I do what is right, not who is right. And you see these things that people can control you with, all the Dr. Weisses and the bullshit, doesn't work on a good man. And I think that's what you were alluding to is I wasn't a good man, but that won't work on me anymore because now I am being a good man. And that doesn't work on me anymore. And the world now needs warriors to stand up. And that means I work hard, but I fucking do the hardest thing you can think of. I operate in purpose with relationship to something greater than myself. And I love hard, the thing that people are terrified of. That's real warrior shit.
Dude, that's so powerful and so well said. Like, and every time, man, it's like every time I talk to you, it lights a fire under my ass to just get better, to get stronger, to get smarter, to just be better, in every way. So my follow-up question is like, I think it's fair to say like I think your area of expertise seems to be human behavior, fair or unfair. So,
That's fair.
hearing you and hearing that last statement that you just did, there's a part of me, and I know there's a part of a lot of other guys that I've talked to. They're like, dude, I hear what you're saying, and I like it. Like, sign me up. But it's like, but it feels. There's a part that is like, it feels wrong. Why do you think that so many men have such a hard time accepting and just taking on that mission?
Because it's probably very fucking difficult to do. This is why you hear me constantly say, warriors go toward the noise. But we're conditioned from kids that if you don't win, easily quit. If you don't just get it right away, then don't try anymore. If you don't just win, like, there's no point in even doing it. And I'm like, wait a second. No, we have to go. If it's scary, run away. Put your head in the sand. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Suppress your emotions. Suppress your heart. It doesn't matter what the man has to say anyways. Men don't matter. We can't. Boys are stupid. We don't want to talk to you. You're mansplaining. All of these elements of things that are like suppress, push down, be less than, don't try. Well, what I teach you to do is, well, if there's something that's scary, let's go check it out. You're like, no, fuck that. No. Let's go. How about we don't, and I just can have a trophy? And I'm like, I see why you're stuck here.
See, I love that you said that. And to bring this conversation full circle to kind of where we started, that's where my journey is with like this irrational fear of women that I've developed. It's like, dude, like, I'm just going to run towards the noise because there's a lot of noise in this area of my life. And it's like, I defy that to continue. Like, this is no longer acceptable behavior in the pursuit of a good man.
Yes.
And it is change. It's life changing. And the second most powerful thing that I've found is, I'm a mind side guy, speaking our language. I take a lot of joy in being intelligent and being able to, to not beat around the bush. I'm trying to get my worth from you and validation for my intelligence, right? And so how I've leaned out of this and how it's skyrocketed my growth is I've kind of leaned into this thing where, like, dude, I know jack shit. I know absolutely nothing. I've adopted the mindset of a child and a student. And I've, like, if you picture my brain as like a switchboard, like the ladies, like, oh, I'm connecting now. I just unplugged the entire switchboard and I started over. And I'm like, all right, just tell me all about that. And I'll tell you what, I have never learned so much in my life. And it's ass backwards logically. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I could talk to a person that I know everything on the sub that you're telling me about. I'm like, why is that? Tell me more. Really? You found that? Huh? And like, I'm not fucking with you. I'm not manipulated. Like, and what it's done is
Socratic method. Yeah, Socrates did this all day.
But what it's done unexpectedly is it's kind of kindled that desire for connection a lot more. And I'm like, oh, like, I genuinely enjoy talking to people. Like, I used to hate learning and studying. I'm like, dude, I love this shit now. Because like, once I'm able to just get out of my own way and just like, yeah, I have no idea, dude. And I'm perfectly okay with that. My growth just skyrocketed. My relationships with my kids improved. Like, I got promoted at work. I'm like, I'm a carpenter by trade. I'm not even a great carpenter. But I'll tell you what, my abilities to lead a crew, to just talk to supervisors, to talk to homeowners, and just show that, hey, like, I genuinely care about what you need and what you have to say, has put me above excellent carpenters. I'm like, dude, this does not make sense. Like, I'm making enemies in my field.
It does make sense. I knew a guy, there's a story of a guy he was a pretty decent carpenter. Wasn't maybe the best carpenter, but he was okay. He was a good carpenter, but he went on to be able to really connect people and really change a lot of lives later on. And so just because you started off as maybe not the best carpenter doesn't mean your purpose has to stay in there. Because if you're really good at connection, leadership, growth, and compassion, I'm pretty sure that changes the world more than a table or a chair.
Yes. And it's funny because like the conversation of purpose, to bring that one full circle, like, I feel God, and like I don't apologize for that. Like I don't care if you believe it or not, like whatever. Like, but God is very real and He's very present, and that's the foundation for me, man. And am I like a perfect Christian? No, like I wrestle with the word, but I feel that presence of God calling me is like, hey man, you're not a construction worker, like you're a detective, you're a connector. You bring people together. You have leadership qualities, like all of these insecurities that you're seeing and comparing yourself to. I gave you all of those. I put those in you. Why are you insecure? Like, I got your back, right? And I'm like, all right, all right, all right, fair enough. You call the plays, I will execute. And like you said, like God doesn't ask you to do easy stuff. It's not like go out and make some money today. It's like, hey, go out and like see that guy on the corner, give him $5 and talk to him and buy him a cup of coffee. I'm like, God, like I got like $20. Give me to the rest of the week. He's like, you gonna do it or not? Okay, Dad. And dude, every time I do this, it comes back. It comes back better. I spend so much of my free time just talking with other guys and helping and being of service as much as I can. Just trying to fulfill these opportunities. And every time I do, it makes my life substantially better.
Yes. Remember, this is something my uncle taught me this too, and God does work this way. Everything that I ever give, I give just to give, not give to get. Like I just give just to give. It comes back 3 to 10-fold. Mm-hmm. Every dollar that I've given away in the Warriors way, and you've seen me give away thousands and thousands of dollars to guys. I've given away. And it comes back 3 to 10-fold.
Absolutely.
Because it always comes back in some other way. And it's never the way I expect it to either. It'll come in some fucking off the, like a new client comes in who's like, hey, I just want to pay this thing. And you're like, where did this guy come from? That's amazing. Like it, you don't know where it comes from, but it just comes from somewhere. And it comes back in other ways too, because I'll give and give and give. And then what do I get back? I get loyalty. I get friendship. I get a comrade. I get brotherhood, and things start to come in. And those payments are also, remember, the payments that multiply when given. I'm like, what currency is more important, dollars or love? Well, which one's worth more? Because every dollar I have, I use to try to make sure my family and my brothers and my friends and my people all have more love, experiences, connection. What's more important than the dollars or the relationships? Because I'll put you on a desert island with $100 billion. There's no people, though. So dollars just turn into firewood, or how you start your fires, because it doesn't mean anything anymore. And you'll miss people.
That's absolutely true.
Good currency. And this is where I watch people compromise and sacrifice purpose for instant gratification of self-worship, which leaves them isolated, alone, scared of love, and just worship consumption and self-destruction as part of their existence into their own deplorable spiral of emptiness and isolation and solitude. And we call that life. It takes courage these days. It takes courage to do what is right. It takes courage to stand and speak. It takes courage to have these conversations in front of everybody. And you put so much vulnerability on the table in this conversation. It takes courage to do that. And real talk, dude, there'd be ladies who listen to this episode that go like, where the fuck is a guy like this been? I've been talking to all these fake assholes. Like this, I'll take a real dude because I like pajamas and I like homebodies and I don't want people fucking with me. I don't like drinking. Like there's ones that are like, they're cool. And they're like, I don't even have a fake profile on there because I just get guys who just want to hump people. And so I just want to find a real dude. And this is why I tell you the best dates are going to be the ones you just did the dishes and listen to all her stories. Like the best dates are going to be where authenticity lies. I don't have to pretend to be something different, but I also would lean you into your weakest side because I think you're at the level to push you on your weakest side and become a man of action. Yeah, and that's something you don't want to be. Just like I am called to do my side I didn't want to do. I wanted to go body side. I wanted to go mind side. I'm all about it. And God's like, you have to heal the hearts of men. And I said, that's the hardest category. Can I go like into mindset? Can I do psychology? Can I go philosophy? Can we go that way? He's like, you got to work on hearts. And I was like, they all repress their hearts. Everybody's pushed down. I don't want to do that one. Just like you're like, no, I want to stay home. I don't want to go do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And he's like, so you got to go get strong, get capable, get into action, get into motion. You're like, you mean read more books and get more information? Like, no.
Yeah.
Do stuff.
Yeah, it's painfully true. I'm like, dude, let me just tell you how to do this. Like, I don't want to do this, but I can tell you how. Those who can't do, teach. So like, the more I want to teach, the more I'm like, God dang it, dude. All right, I have to go do this now. And I'll tell you what, that's where the good stuff is. Like, I've got to have experiences and meet incredible people and just hear stories and perspectives and just be at places at the most random of circumstances, and I'm like, every time, like, and dude, I was one of those guys, like, I tried being an atheist, like it doesn't make sense. It's silly. Like, as a mind side guy, like, atheism logically does not make sense. And every time I come to one of these realizations, I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm like, good play, God. All right, let's go. Like, it's so funny, dude. And I'm not like I'm not a scripture guy. Like, I don't spend days like memorizing scripture to preach at people, because Doug Weiss was very good at scripture.
Doug Weiss could do it. Weiss could do it.
I'll tell you what, that motherfucker, he would nail you to the wall with scripture. He had one ready for every scenario. And one thing that's funny about that is, and the guys we're talking about, it's like, we did a really cool advanced night, and we brought a very difficult question, and we won't get into that, but it's like, just seeing the amount of theology and facts and logic that got through into the conversation. But I'm like, but there's no doing here. There's no experiences here. There's no love here. There's no connection here. Like, you're trying to explain to me why Jesus had to die. Like, you don't seem to have a relationship. You don't even know who this guy is. And yet you can tell me how a ketubah works, and you can tell me all this scripture and historical facts, and you got a doctorate in biblical theology, but yet, like, you don't have faith. And you're not listening. Because if you were, and you were leaning into these things, like, as I do, or if I've seen people that I admire, it's like, God, like, I don't know what to do. And like, I'm like a little kid, like, reaching to, like, Dad, I need help, man. And he's like, I got you, buddy. And he gives me a little push, and like, even with, like, to bring it back full circle again, like how this conversation started with these women, he's like, I find myself like thinking back on opportunities. I'm like, oh shoot, like, he put a girl right there in a situation, but I was like, ooh, I'm scared. I don't want to talk to her. I've passed so many of those moments in my life, or like opportunities for business, or opportunities for friendships, opportunities to connect with my kids, to whatever, fill in the blank. I'm like, the door was right there. I was just like, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Me, I know what's best. And he's like, all right.
What's funny is, since I met you, have you noticed that some of the coolest moments that you've had is when you're completely fucked?
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Like, whenever things have gone radically wrong for you, the Chinese farmer element of, like, maybe ends up happening.
Yeah.
Like, just look at our history. I've only known you we're coming up on what, 2 years?
Yeah, it'll be 2 years in January.
Yeah, so in January. So I've known you a year and a half, 2 years. Like, we're coming up. And every time I see you do some radical fucking swan dive face plant, fuck your shit up, something just ridiculously good comes out of it.
Yeah, it's painfully true. I'll give an example just for if this podcast ever sees the light of day. about a year ago, it's probably this time last year, I think. I had completed the Warriors Way program, and I was feeling on top of the fucking world. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking life by the horns, and my lease was up for my apartment, and me and my ex-wife, we were getting along like suspiciously well. And I got the bright idea of like, dude, like I'm gonna fix this. I was like, I'm not renewing my lease. I moved in with my ex-wife, just jumped right back. And dude, no intention on ever shitting on my ex-wife. She's just the mother of my children. I have nothing but respect and love for her. But like, we moved in, like, we just do not work. Like, I don't believe that this is a relationship that could be salvaged. But not to say that there's not love and connection there. Like, long story short, shit hits the fan. I end up homeless. I'm like, I have no money for a deposit on an apartment. I'm in the middle of the city. I'm living in my car, right? And I text Rick. I'm like, dude, like, I just fucked my whole life up. And he's like, what'd you do? And I explain the story, and he responds, LOL, with like 3 laughing faces. He's like, his laughs, dude, audibly out. Like, I could feel you over the text. He's like, dude, that's hilarious. And at first, I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, my life just fell apart. This is real funny. And then I take a step back, and I like kind of get out of my own way about it. I'm like, actually, you know what? That is hilarious, and I thought that would work.
I literally, I did laugh when I was like, you fucking, the reason why it was funny though is because you knew it was fucked and you kept it secret from all the guys.
Oh, because I knew you guys would be like, don't do that. Don't do
you,
that.
You knew you were going back to Nazareth to be the Messiah. You knew you were going to go do it. And so you didn't run that by any counsel at all. You were like, I'm just going to go secret squirrel this shit and save that relationship. And everybody would have been like, no, you're a fucking orange belt, bro. Don't go into black belt territory. You have one move, dude. You're not ready for that fight yet. You went out there, got fucking kicked out, living in your van, and you were fucked. And all I could do is go, there you are, secret fucking mission guy. Hilarious. You're hysterical, and you knew better. That shit was so funny.
You know, I'll tell you, like, even just finding the humor in that is, like, I don't look back on that and disdain at all. Like, I actually cherish that time in my life a lot. Like, I was homeless in the middle of Salt Lake City, and I tell you what, every day something really cool happened. Like, I could fit an air mattress in the back of there. Like, I got a gym membership. I could take a shower. Like, I was free to explore some territory that I would never have explored. Like, I got opportunities to help other people and just lean in and be of service. Cause I'm like, yeah, I do got time. I have jack shit going on. I was forced to have more meaningful and honest connections with physical friends that I had in this area. Like, I grew closer to people. I became spiritually, like, just more rich than I've ever been in my life. And then
I remember too, I was like, well, I know you don't have a home for a little while. I can give you 1 week that I can give you a place to stay.
Yeah. And
so
it was awesome.
Down, and we got to go to Dwayne Knoll's house. And so, like, you know, Dry Creek Wrangler. And like, it cost me a pretty penny, but I was like, I'll give you a spot.
Oh
and
my
I was
God,
like,
it was
you
awesome.
come on in, and you got to hang out with me and Dwayne Knoll and Jason Steiner and Chris Miller. And you got to meet all of our girls. And like, it wouldn't have happened if you weren't homeless.
That's right.
You couldn't have done it if you had a place to stay. If you had your apartment, you never would have gotten to meet all these people in person.
Nope. And that's how God works. Right there. He's like, all right, like, let me change plans a little bit. Like, Jordan.
What happens when you worship yourself? You do this.
But and then just another light on that candle. Like, our buddy Phil, like, he just lost his dog. That was his
Charles,
Oh man, Charles, that was his guy. And he texted me. He goes, bro, he's like, I laughed so hard when I heard that news. He's like, it literally got me through my dog dying. He's like, thank you. You made my fucking day with your stupidity. And I'm like, you're welcome.
Fuck Dr. Phil, he's so good. Yeah, that was sad for Charles though. That was tough.
Yes, I mean, it's unfortunate. I'm not happy he lost his dog or
No,
anything, but it's
I'm happy he feels a 4 and he can laugh in darkness. So that's it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just to end, like to kind of bring some of this conversation to an end, that is one of the most important lessons I've ever learned in my life. And it kind of turned my laugher back on. And I learned to find the humor again and all this like bullshit and self-pity and victimization that I'd been in for the past, 6-7 years. It's like, oh my gosh, this is kind of hilarious. And even in the darkest places, like laughter really takes power away from the enemy within. Like fear doesn't exist when you can laugh at it. Anxiety doesn't exist. Depression doesn't exist. It's like, I see you, man. Like, you're hilarious. Like, I'm going to do this today. Like, we'll talk again later. It's like, you're fucking funny, dude. I see you. I can see you coming.
I see you.
It's powerful, man. And, I think we need to laugh a little bit more at some of this psychological manipulation and advertisement targeting that we're constantly falling for. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. Like, you're trying to sell me ED pills because I'm lonely. Like that's a fucking paradox. Like, I'm gonna use it, bitches, anyways. Like,
I'm terrified of women. Why do I need ED pills?
Yeah, it's like you got the wrong one, dude. It's like that's the wrong audience.
No, it's good, man. There's a lot of stuff in the world I think that needs healing.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, while we do have our women's group and we do have our couples calls and stuff that we do to train our people for different sides, I believe the salvation for our purposeless, Universe 25 spiral that we've got going on, I believe it's going to start with bringing back good, strong men. I believe it is.
You're damn right.
I believe being able to not be easily controlled and being able to be defiant towards purpose and follow a dream and build something that's worth building for, something that matters, not money, but relationship, family, currency, unity, togetherness. Those things are what we need strong men for, because we will build the structures. Our women will make the structures fucking awesome. We will make a life together that is incredible. And so I believe that it starts with guys like us. And that's why, like, I hope that people will listen to this and join in on the Warrior's Way mindset, because they can actually train with you. That's right. And they can train with me. And they can learn, how did these guys get through so many difficult things and learn to laugh in the face of danger, anger, depression, addiction, the dark thoughts that come along, anxiety, and all of these other elements that you're told that you should be shamed, beaten down, silent, self-censored, and nothing. We can laugh because
that's
warriors
right.
Go toward the fucking noise.
That's right, man. And that's such a beautiful statement. And like, dude, my only hope for having more of these conversations and doing podcasts and all this stuff, like my only hope is that my story and the things that I can share will inspire somebody else to just try to do better. That's it. Like, I don't want a thing from anybody. Like, just invest in yourself, man, and just lean into authenticity and just, we got to break this Universe 25. Like, it's got to stop, guys. And it starts with us as men.
Let's make hardworking warrior hippies. Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
All right. Love you, bro.
Yeah, love you too, man. Honor to be here and have this conversation. Anytime. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Thanks, brother.
Damn.
Click on the button and you can become the hero in your own story. It's time to start making the choices to change. And the evolution that you're going to do begins with choosing the next step. This is the way. And together, we're always stronger.